Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I grew up in central Pennsylvania, East Coast US, and spent a little over 8 years in Boston before I moved to Berlin in 2009. Any other specific
What brought you to Berlin?
I was working for a startup called Plum in Boston, which was a small group social networking. We were about 10 people, and Nokia acquired the company Plum, and as part of the acquisition deal, I came to Berlin.
And how do you like Berlin?
I love it, of course. I don't think anyone says they don't like Berlin.
You speak German yet?
A little, yeah.
A little. But the interview is better in English.
Interview is better in English.
Okay. So, and then you worked for Nokia in Berlin, and now you are co-founder of a real famous startup in Germany. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about your recent startup?
Sure. It's called Amen. We started Amen in February, March of last year, so we're coming up on 1 year since we had the initial idea, together with my co-founders Felix Peterson and Florian Weber. Yeah, we started in a co-working space in Kreuzberg called the Wastel. It was a very freezing space about this time of year. We were working in it was a converted garage that the owners of this property sealed off and made into a room. So the walls were tiled, and it was very, very poorly heated.
So really tough bootstrapping period.
It was our humble beginning, yeah.
And then further on, how has Amen developed so far?
Well, we moved through several office spaces since then. We were in a couple other temporary places. For about a week, we were in the Amano Hotel when we were between offices. And now we've graduated to Schiffbardam. We have a really lovely office overlooking the river. And we grew from, well, the three of us, plus Ricky Gregerson, our first hire, our iOS developer. We're now 9 people, including an office manager, and we're sharing offices with the guys at Reed Mill. So it's a fun, lively office environment these days.
Yeah, sounds really inspiring, though. What's your exact position at Amen, or what do you do at Amen?
The title I gave myself is Chief Product Officer. It's a little bit of an arbitrary title. I'm pretty hands-on with the design, the interface and visual design of the app. We started with iOS, so all of the initial concepting was around the iPhone as a platform. And then I think probably 6 months after we started, we started into web as well. So yeah, I do the design, branding, the Amen brand, the color palette, how we represent ourselves as a brand to the rest of the world, and kind of scope the product going forward. So what's coming next? What are the next big features? Defining what the features are in a way that can be broken down and executed by the team.
So what's the exact vision of Amen?
Yeah, so we want to be the opinion platform on the web, the place that you go to share opinions and read opinions by your friends or about things that matter to you, and then have a fun, interactive experience around these opinions. So agreeing with them by saying amen, or disagreeing with your friend by saying, hell no, actually, you're wrong, this is my opinion. And yeah, encourage just social interaction through the sharing of opinions.
So Amen would be the right place for people who like to argue.
Definitely. It's a battleground.
Okay. Do you like to argue?
I like debating, let's put it that way.
Okay. So can I say that everything in your world, I mean in an Amen world, is just black and white? There's no shades of gray?
Yeah, we're about the best and the worst, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but if you say something very provocative, that something is the best or something is the worst, it means you really care about what you're saying. It's not the cupcakes at the cupcake shop were so-so. I mean, that's not something that's worthy of telling your friends. That's like early days of Facebook when people were saying, I am now brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
So by creating a structure where you have to say something that is opinionated or polarizing, you share more authentic experiences and you also get more reactions.
Okay. And how do you get all these people to use Amen to share their opinions?
This is the hardest question when you're doing a social startup. There's a variety of different tactics. One obviously is just word of mouth. So you tell your friend, hey, check out this platform Amen, it's really fun. Then there's all the viral tools around Facebook sharing and Twitter sharing where you hope that your content spreads through the internet in a way that brings you more traffic and eventually more users. And then there's old-fashioned marketing where you pay for advertising or you promote yourself on the internet as a service.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a big media hype around Amen even before you officially launched, because I guess obviously of your famous investor. How did you cope with all the pressure that comes with all the attention?
Well, I always caveat this with a lot of the press in Germany was in German, and my German reading skills are not excellent, so I'm not actually sure how accurate my perception of the press that we got and continue to get. I'm just not sure how accurate I'm perceiving what's going on. But there's a lot of focus on Ashton. He's stolen the stage on a number of occasions just from visually glancing at an article. There's a gigantic picture of Ashton, and then oh, by the way, there's this little service that's trying to make it. And the stories surrounding him have been interesting as well. I think a lot of people are under the impression that he literally got off an airplane with a suitcase full of cash and came to our offices.
So that was not the story?
In fact, that was not the case. He was introduced to us through our lead investors, Index, and he's done deals with Index Ventures in the past. So they introduced Ashton to us, and Ashton was really interested in the idea, so he decided to invest a pretty small amount.
So Amen is a really strong name, right? How did you come up with the idea for your platform to name it Amen?
Well, initially it wasn't called Amen. We had a brainstorming session 3 or 4 months after we started the service where we were kicking around some names along the lines of Amen. We were thinking hands down, fact, state, which funnily enough we have a competitor that's about to launch, which is called state.it. And I have my notebook with all of the words kind of around this concept that we were working with. And I was actually thinking about on the side of the New Museum in New York for a while. I think in 2008 or 2009 there was an art piece in the Hello Kitty font, like rainbow colored, that said "Hell no!" exclamation point. Oh. And I was looking out the window and I was thinking about like hell yeah, like saying saying something that to back up what you just said in a very strong way, and hell no, and then amen came to mind. And as soon as I said amen, my co-founder Felix was like, "That's it. We're doing Amen. That's the name. No discussion. It's brilliant." And then we had some internal discussion about whether that was actually a smart idea due to the religious connotations. And in the beginning, we had a lot of people saying, "Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to use that name?" But we ran with it, and it's turned out we've had very little backlash.
Okay. Did you register it as a trademark?
Yeah, so we own the European and US trademark for Amen within the social media space.
Okay, but so the church has still the right to say Amen.
The church still has the right to say Amen. Okay.
Would you like to complete some sentences in an Amen way, I would call it? So, for example, entrepreneurship is...
the best endeavor ever.
And Berlin is?
Obviously the best city ever.
And Amen is?
The best new startup of 2012.
That's a great statement. I just can say amen. Yeah.
Amen.
I wouldn't disagree to that. So thank you very much for your time and the interview. It was very, very interesting talking to you, and wishing you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much.